Hello and welcome to Discovering Grays Lake, unveiling the stories and people that make our town so unique. I'm your host, David Wool, and I'm thrilled to bring you this new podcast that explores fascinating stories and experiences of local business owners and community leaders, right here where we call home. Grays Lake Rehabilitation Center is a community-based private practice physical therapy provider. Do you know they have 13 clinical providers with various levels of specialties, including orthopedics, sports, neurology, vestibular, geriatrics, pelvic floor, and aquatic? What? Did I just say they have a pool? Well, they do, and it's the largest indoor warm water pool in Lake County, featuring 2 underwater treadmills and swim currents. And recently added clinical treatment specialties, in layman's terms, shockwave. They have both radial and focus units that are the newest tool in regenerative medicine, available to everyone. They pride themselves on the most current and up-to-date specialized care to keep you moving. If you're looking for physical therapy, make sure to see our friends at Grays Lake Rehabilitation. Wait. Grays Lake has a record store? Are you ready to get into the groove? Well, I've got the perfect place for you with new and used vinyl, CDs, tapes, and more. At Andy's Records, they're not just about the hits. They're about the classics, the B-sides, the hidden gems, the vinyl vibes that make your heart skip a beat. For the record, Andy's is not your average music shop. It's a place where melodies meet memories. Andy's Records, because life sounds better with a little spin. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Discovering Grays Lake. We're here at Agora Co-working, which is right on the corner of Atkinson and Center. If you guys are looking for a place to have an office for a day, for a month, or a home for your business, it's a great place to be. Luke over here is very accommodating, so come in to see him if you need an office out of your house, and he will hook you up. And he's a cool dude. So, speaking of cool dudes, I met these guys at a chamber event, and I've heard a lot about you guys. So I'm here with Wolf's Barbershop, and I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. That'll make it easy.
Awesome. So my name is Melrose. I'm co-owner of Wolf's Barber Lounge in Grays Lake off of 1824 East Belvedere Road inside of Country Fair Plaza. So if you're familiar with Shooters, McDonald's, Walgreens, we're in that same plaza. Come see us.
Mm-hmm. My name's Cano, Luis Cano, co-owner as well of Wolf's Barber Lounge.
See, sorry, I said shop.
It's okay.
Same shit.
Why is it a lounge?
I think it's the vibe, the atmosphere that we bring to our clients, right? We are very in touch with the old school art of barbering, where it's more of a speakeasy. You get to go in there, kind of de-stress, relax, talk sports, sometimes politics. I know it's a touchy subject, but we really are like the Joe Rogan podcast of barbering. So if you want to have a good time, you want to be yourself and feel like you're in a safe place to do that, and have a great haircut at the end, please come see us.
Right. So you mentioned the experience of a barbershop before the actual haircut.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think people pay for a service, but they'll come back because of a good experience that they had somewhere.
Oh, hell yeah.
I think that lasts longer.
Hell yeah.
You know, it's an impression versus, anybody could give a good haircut, right? But the experience, the ambiance of the place, I think that's what really touches everybody.
Yeah.
Because I know everybody listening, especially men sitting to get a haircut, if I'm just sitting there and just getting my haircut, hanging out, and there's no conversation at all, or maybe some people like it, but I don't.
Some people do. So you'll get your crowd. They're super chill. They just want to go in. I just want to relax. No one talk to me. And there's barbers for that. There's other clients.
Yeah, they usually sit in his chair, and the guys that want to get their ears talked off, they sit in my chair, because that's what I do.
Well, this podcast will be a testament to that. I'm sure of that.
Absolutely.
So how has the community embraced you guys?
Wonderfully, man. I can't say enough good things about Grays Lake as a community. We're 2 minorities, and I'll be honest, when we first talked about opening this, it was in Round Lake. We both worked out of Round Lake, and we mentioned coming here because we felt there was a need here. Shout out to Frank, Grays Lake Barber Lounge, much respect. Grays Lake Barbershop, much respect, great guy. But he's a one-man shop, right? And I had a couple friends that had businesses in the area. Big, huge shout out to Steve Magnetta, Veterans Carpet Cleaning, good friend of mine.
Love him.
Introduced me to the community, and I got to talk to some people, and they would always tell me how Frank was always like months booked out, right? It was really hard to get in touch with him or get inside of his establishment for a haircut. So I was like, okay, there's a need here, right? Mm-hmm. And we flirted with the idea of doing Round Lake, and shout out to Round Lake. We love Round Lake. They've been good to us, but we felt it was oversaturated. So it's one of those deals, right? Where do you bring water to the desert, or do you bring it to an oasis where there's plenty of water already? So we made the decision to come to Grays Lake against some of our circle of influences better opinions, right? They were like, you guys are better suited in like lower income places, and barbershops.
Why do they say that?
It's a weird stigma, I think, because we're minorities, because we're Latinos. They didn't think that
that we could do good, and
it would do good, or it was.
Nicer
They're like, they have sports clips. They go to sports clips, and I'm like, I think everybody can appreciate a good haircut, and we've had people visit us in Round Lake from these areas looking for a good haircut, right? So we're like, dude, let's just do it. Let's see what happens. And man, I cannot say, from the Chamber of Commerce to Grays Lake Village Hall to Nordic Properties, which is where we're doing business in, they were so accommodating, so welcoming, and the reception has been nothing but positivity and 5 stars, and the loyalty that we get from you guys is honestly more than what we expected, even when we were making those arguments of coming here.
That's
so
awesome.
A sincere thank you to Grays Lake community. We hope that we've we do our best to give back and do charitable things to prove that we're any environment, any community that we do business in, that we're fortunate enough to do business in, we want to make better in whatever way we can. So
wow, I wish we had
kudos.
beers right now, because we'd be cheersing right now to that.
Shout out to Grays Lake.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Shout
guys.
out to all the clients that followed us from the other communities too, because without them, I mean, they were the pillars of just starting up in Grays Lake, because they were the ones that were helping us fund everything in regards to staying booked, right? Like our old clientele would still come to us, and it's people from all over the communities, like Round Lake, Lake Villa, Mundelein, all over the place. So shout out to those people too.
Yeah, well, it's a testament to what you do too, because no matter where your shop's at, they follow you.
Yeah.
It must be you guys are doing a great job, because otherwise we're gonna stay local, or
Exactly.
we don't want to go that far.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when you opened shop in Grays Lake, the one research I did on you was you had impeccable timing on opening, right?
Yeah.
Tell me that story.
Oh God. So you want to start it? Yeah.
Well, we had plans on starting. We were supposed to open. What was it, March?
Yeah, March, April of 2020.
2020, and we had invested everything ourselves. We had looked to do private investors and stuff like that, but thankfully we were patient enough to just do it all on our own. Again, with the help of clientele, right? Because without them, we wouldn't have been able to do it. We were supposed to open up 2 weeks into the shutdown. Yeah. So it was wild because out of the blue we get hit with like, yo, COVID, and we're like, what the fuck is
what
COVID?
is COVID?
We didn't know what the fuck.
Right.
We didn't know what was going on. You try to do all this research and after investing a few $1,000s, we're just like, holy fuck, bro. Like, I know me personally, my heart sank. I was like, dude, there goes all of my fucking savings. Like, what the fuck, Like,
I get it.
Oh God.
And the lease was gonna start, everything, So we were just like, fuck, dude. We just poured everything into the build out. Like, what's gonna happen? It was a lot of uncertainty, man. So
especially the uncertainty that we didn't know how long it was going to last.
Exactly.
It's not like, oh, well, we have to wait 3 months and then everything's going to be fine.
They kept pushing it month after month, I think it was, right? They were like, 1 month.
Yeah, so JB came on the podium, I think it was in March or April of 2020, and was like, hey, this is a shutdown, 2 weeks. And I remember looking at him, and mind you, this was 6 months into us working as barbers by day, taking our sneakers off, putting on our carpenter boots and our messed up jeans and going in and drilling, hammering, because we built the barbershop ourselves. We couldn't afford to hire a crew. So we were putting in countless hours, right? So for us, in a weird way, for me, I could say, it was a sigh of relief, because it was like a much needed pause. We didn't know how long that pause was going to be, but according to JB, it was going to be a 2-week process. And I remember talking to him, and I was all excited. I actually stopped at the liquor store the day that the lockdown happened. I was like, I'm going to get some beer.
That's the best.
We're hanging out at home.
Yeah.
This is going to be fun. And I told him, I was like, I don't think it's going to be 2 weeks, man. This sounds like longer than 2 weeks. But we'll play it by ear, and we'll see how this goes. 2 months later, as we all know, 3 months later is about how long it took. And that was a very interesting time, because we had, our bills at home don't stop, mortgage, all these things. And now we have a new mortgage, in a sense, at our commercial establishment. So we had to pay 2 rents. Super big shout out to the clients. I don't know if I should say this on air, but we were cutting hair responsibly. We had our PPE,
Right.
but we were traveling to people's homes, right? So because that just made more sense. I'm one guy. I'm coming into your house for 30 to 45 minutes. I have my Lysol. I have 3 bottles of Clorox in the car if you need me to use it. Whatever you need to make you feel secure. I'm in and out of your house, and that's kind of how we made ends meet in those uncertain times, right?
Yeah.
It was such a wild experience, but it gave us a unique sense of confidence moving forward, right? That if we can,
You make it through that.
if we can make it through, right?
That's what that's what
Right.
it is, right? Like now it's like, what the fuck can stop us now? Like there's nothing that could stop us. The only thing that could
Knock on wood or something.
Yeah.
Right now,
Yeah, but like
Right.
it would have to be like me and this guy completely like slacking off and fucking around and not taking the business serious,
Yeah, sure.
And I think we've done a great job, and we keep adapting to everything. Like now we got this whole financial shit going on with the whole U.S. and the world or whatever, and even then, like we're still doing the market, the housing market, everything, right? And thankfully, man, people keep coming, man. People keep coming, and
it's a testament to what you guys do, and it's a testament to people that believe in you guys and know. Because my favorite thing from being a small business owner my whole life, like we had a DJ business for 29 years,
awesome.
and that just
Congratulations.
And after COVID,
Yeah.
it was like a terrible thing because it was like we could do parties in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have COVID in Wisconsin.
Okay.
That's what I heard anyway.
There's
Or in Florida.
a couple other
I
states,
don't think that they had it.
and or countries, right? Sweden, I heard.
But we weren't able to go to a bar here, but then we could go DJ a wedding in Burlington, Wisconsin. So we're taking a quick break just to say hello because everybody knows Nano. And Nano knows real estate. And actually, I believe that's the name of her Instagram page. So if you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, or know somebody in the market for a home, contact Nano from Baird & Warner. She's a Grays Lake girl helping out Grays Lake people. I get it, and we don't want to make this political at all.
At all.
But it's funny that what it goes into starting a small business, and you guys starting off with a challenge like that, which you probably got a lot more done in your shop.
Yeah,
lounge, so to say.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, the beauty of it, and I don't want to get religious, but I am a God-fearing man. So I would say the beauty is that we were not only able to sustain business during that time, but we grew business, right? We added barbers, we added chairs. We started as a 2-chair shop, right?
Yeah.
And a good friend of mine, Rachel Vincent, she's one of the senior VPs at Wintrust, and I had extensive conversations with her leading up to this project, and she was like, don't be afraid to grow with your business. And I think that was one of the best pieces of advice that I got, right? Because as young entrepreneurs, we have this vision or this idea that everything needs to be perfect on opening day. And it needs to look the way it's going to look forever on opening day. Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, don't be afraid to grow with your business. Start with what you can afford. If you can only afford 2 chairs to begin with, and it's you and your partner, why have 9 chairs? Why add that expense if you don't even have them filled yet, right?
Yeah.
Right. And then where a lot of those uncertainties with this pandemic is, how many barbers can we have in our establishment? Well, lo and behold, we decided on a 6-foot distance between chairs, just to give each other elbow room and give barbers an opportunity.
Prior to COVID, ever even knowing what the fuck that was, right?
Yeah.
Before it even became a thing, that our blueprint was 6 foot from each station,
and it's comfortable for your clients.
Yeah.
And that turns out to be the guidelines that the
state put
right.
up.
Yeah.
So
I know what you're talking about.
Luckily, we didn't have to lay anybody off. We didn't have to prevent anybody from coming and working in our establishment because we were all within the guidelines. And it was divine intervention is the only explanation I can give for that because
Amen.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
No,
It's crazy.
I love how stuff like... So you guys growing up, what point do you guys decide, like, I'm going to be a barber? Like, not everybody, like, you weren't little boys going, I'm going to cut hair when I grow up.
You're right.
That's a fun story. Yeah.
So I'll be honest and say that my journey was not that, right? I wasn't that little kid playing with, clippers at a young age and aspiring to be a barber when I was 10. My journey came out of desperation. I was 22 years old. I was kind of lost in the world, like most 22-year-olds are, trying to find my direction, trying to find my footing. Got a young lady pregnant, and I had a child on the way, and that was a huge motivating factor for me to kind of get off my ass and get my life together.
Right, we say we sometimes do things because we have to, not because we want to.
100%.
And you never know where it takes you, right?
I was on that path, right? So it was 2 options. It was military or I didn't even know barbering was an option at this time. So it was military or college. And I decided to go to CLC and get my GED, to be honest. I'm a high school dropout. Proud to say it because I've come a long way. And hopefully that's some motivation for some youths out there that are struggling with education. It's not an end-all, be-all. But went and got my GED and then signed up for a semester of college because I found out through the military that I needed one semester of college to join with a GED. So I said, okay, prerequisites, I'm in. Go to CLC. I decided that I want to pursue engineering because I was like most kids and looking at the salary. And I said, that looks like a good salary. I can do that. And then I joined, looked at the curriculum, and I was like, way too much math, right? Way too much math. I'm in over my head. So I did the one semester of college. I'm sitting in the barbershop trying to get my hair cut. Super stressed out, right? But I knew that looking good made me feel good, which brought things back full circle for me. So sitting in the barber chair, hearing my barber complain about not having a lunch that day, and I'm like sitting there listening to him complain, and I'm like, he's that busy, huh? Like he has that many haircuts. And so we get to a conversation, and I ask him, and he let me know he does about 16, 17 haircuts a day, right? So I'm not good at math, but I can do that math.
I can
right?
do that math too.
I can do that math. And I said, okay, that's solid. And he gets to wear what he wants. And at the time I was working at Burger King, and I hated it because I had to wear a uniform. And they made me cover up my tattoos. So in the heat of summer, in a hot kitchen, I'm wearing long sleeve shirts, sweating my butt off. So I made that decision right there that I'm going to at least investigate this thing called barbering and see if it interests me. And the more I watched YouTube videos, the more engaged I got into the career. And it prompted me to start barber school, which, I mean, that just took over my life. And here we are today as a proud owner of Wool's Barber Lounge. And it's been wild. His story is a lot more like what you were describing, though.
Yeah. So for me, it was, I picked up the clippers at 14. I was 14 years old, yeah. And it was mainly because, honestly, it was desperation, but not for finding a career. It was getting a good haircut, Really? My mom was taking me to all these chop shops, and all these ladies were just fucking my shit up, No offense to any ladies, but it was bad, It was really bad. So it comes to the time where I'm just like, dude, you know what? Like, I need to figure something out. So I had one of my cousins from Chicago. He takes me to one of his barbershops, and I think it was a Platinum Fades, if I remember correctly.
Shout out to Platinum Fades.
Shout out to them. And I got the nicest, crispiest #1 bald fade, and it was like, holy shit, like I just felt like a different kid, right? So I go home, I'm like, Mom, don't worry about the, spending money on my haircuts anymore. I'm going to try to do it myself. Like, just trying to save her money and trying to save embarrassment myself, right?
Sure.
So, so it was nice, man. She bought me some Walmart clippers, and I started just practicing. And then I had, slowly as that started getting nice, the buddies started coming around. They started, getting haircuts with me, blah, blah, blah. And it was like a high school thing for me where it was like, yo, this is making me money. This is my lunch money, whatever, right? Like any snacks, whatever. But even in that, once as I started getting good at cutting hair, like I still didn't know if that was like something I wanted to do, right? Like it was just a hobby. I didn't even know like I could make it into a career. Like I just wasn't focused on that. And I was, to be honest, fucking around a lot in high school. So fast forward, junior, senior year, everybody's applying to colleges. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Like, and everybody's telling me like, dude, what are you gonna do? Like, are you gonna be cutting hair the rest of your life? Like, just kind of like down talking me,
Downplaying it, right?
And I'm just like, yo, what the fuck, So then I'm just like stretching, and like I know you shouldn't care what people think, but at that age, you give a fuck about what everybody says.
Absolutely.
All your peers, everybody's just kind of like, everybody's getting accepted, to all these fucking schools all over the fucking country. And I'm over here. I applied to a school, Western Illinois University. And
hey, I graduated from there.
Oh, did you really? Nice.
I don't know how I got in.
Yeah. Well, that's a funny story, right? Like, I get fucking rejected. They reject me, and I'm like, holy fuck, bro. Like, so I started like, yo, what the fuck? And then one of my good friends was like, dude, don't fucking stress it. Go to CLC. Shout out to CLC, right? He's like, go to CLC, get your grades up, and then transfer out, right?
Yep.
So, in between that, like I start working at a barbershop, Stilo's barbershop, no longer around, but they were one of the first Latino barbershops in around Lake County area.
We would hear about Stilo's in Waukegan.
Really? Yeah, they're super dope place. So they hired me there. I'm working, And, you know, again, just people in my ear, right? Like, yo, dude, like, what are you doing? Is that all you're going to do? Like, you're just going to be cutting hair? Yeah, bro. People were fucking wild. Like, they were just down talk. Yeah, they were down talk.
Have you sent them a thank you note yet?
Bro. Well, I cut some of their hair now, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they pay my bills now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know. Right. And, it was a blessing in disguise, though, because I go to CLC. I do 3 semesters there. And I reapply to Western. I get fucking accepted. And I'm like, yo, fuck it, I'm dropping this barber stuff. Because, I just wanted to see what my other options were at that point.
Sure.
Go to Western. I graduate, in which, to me, it was like, shout out to Western, right? But it was like a big fuck you, like, yo, you declined me, I'm back, and I'm going to do my thing,
Right.
And I graduated in 2014, 2015. I forgot. It's been a little bit.
If you forgot, I forgot.
Yeah. But, it was nice. And then once I got out of there, all throughout my college career, I was always cutting hair. That was my bar money. That was my fucking, my breakfast, lunch, dinner, anything. Thankfully I didn't have to bother my mom with anything. She was a single mother, and had just gotten remarried. And I just, I wanted her to live her life, and be happy finally. And in that, I graduated, and it just, I don't know, man, just the barbering just kept knocking at my door. I was just, at that point I was really good at it, thankfully. And I said, we started working in the same location, and that's how me and him, we met at CLC, believe it or not.
He doesn't remember me, guys.
I don't remember
me. I brought it up.
I was just
like, really? I'm like, really? Oh, wow.
I think I was just so hyper focused because I had a goal, right? I was like, dude, I'm fucking getting into this school. I don't give a fuck what happens,
right.
And the social life at that point, I was just so focused. But when I officially met him at this other shop that we're at, we just hit it off right, man. It was like a brother bond, and we'd fuck around with each other. Sometimes we'd piss each other off, just talking shit across the road.
We would have people we would go to eat places. We got caught once at Beat-Ups in Round Lake, and one of the clients came in. He was like, "You guys actually hang out outside of work? You like each other?"
And I'm like, "You hated each other?"
The way we bantered in the barbershop. I mean, it's just fun. It's like locker room talk, right? So you're picking fun, you're talking crap. So it's almost like a WWE skit where we play the heel and the good guy. And one of us picks the role of the day, right? Yeah. Whether it's me or him. And we convince people that we hate each other for some reason. And then here we are doing business together. And it's a unique relationship, but I love him. I do love him like a brother. And it's unique in the sense that I feel like I always longed to be successful in whatever I did, right? I pursued music, so that's why your DJ comment touched with me, because I did pursue music, so I know how hard the music industry is and how shady it can be, but that's another topic. So yeah, I just wanted to be successful. And this barbering thing, I mean, I had unlike him, he has a unique experience because he's really never had a job outside of cutting hair, right? And it's so interesting to see that dynamic in him and how he's developed into who he is now, right? Where I had a bunch of different customer service. So the customer service stuff I had down, right? Talking to people, greeting people, treating people good. I needed to learn the skill. And he had the skill and developed his people persons throughout his career, right? Or his people skills, right? Throughout his career. So it was an awesome interchanging of concepts and ideas between us, because he was giving me the insights on how to cut hair, how to fade properly, and he would almost watch me talk to people in a room and captivate a room, right? Yeah. Because it just came natural to me. So we have this unique feng shui, what is it, yin yang, whatever it is.
And it wouldn't work if you guys were the same.
No,
exactly.
It was inspiring too, because it's one thing growing up, I was very social. But once you put me in a professional setting, I was almost like, what the fuck, man? You know what I'm saying? I a swear word would come out of my mouth every fucking time, And
I can't imagine that about you.
I can't imagine. I don't know.
So I did give them permission to swear. So yeah, okay.
So it was just one of those things where you're just like, man, I need to, there's a time and place for everything. So,
absolutely.
That's what I learned along the way, and I think we've made a great team.
Yeah, we flow so good.
Picked up a lot.
Yeah, and I like the way you guys mesh together, even talking on here. And I'm sure it happens with clients. And we had a little talk when we were making coffee, because I'm sure you guys get a certain who I would perceived to come in to get a haircut from you.
Sure.
But then you get one guy come in and do that, and the next guy comes in a 3-piece suit.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
So, and you look at that guy and you're like, okay. It's hard not to judge. I always say that I'm not prejudiced, but let's face it, we all are a little prejudiced no matter, I don't care if it's the way people dress or whatever. I like to say that I don't judge people by the color of their skin or anything, but deep down people, unfortunately, you've been...
It would be counterintuitive to our business model to say that image doesn't matter, right? Because image is kind of our business. So
image is your business.
And there's statistics that show, right, that professional image leads to. I always tell my clients, look good, feel good, do good, and I think there's a direct correlation to that, right? Self-esteem breeds success. Confidence breeds success. And so, one of the biggest things, like you said, and I'm glad you said that, is image means a lot, right? I do judge people based on how they look, right? I'd be a little weary if a guy's all scraggly. For example, I'm a barber. If you come to me and I'm just falling apart, right? And
I don't want you cut my hair.
Right. So it's
you
one of
better
those.
have your shit put together.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right? So that's something that we do stress, and obviously it's with vested interest, but it's a very true statement. In any walk of life, I don't care if it's blue collar, if it's office, if it's a student, the way you feel translates directly to the way you behave, to the way you act, and to the things you do. So it is a very, very important thing. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So a guy comes in like that. So you guys all walks of life.
Yeah.
Right?
It's intimidating. It can be. For me. I mean, I come from Waukegan. I'm a Waukegan kid.
Right.
So, suits and ties were something that I was just not accustomed to seeing. Right.
Sure.
And you always wonder, like, well, what are these people like? What do they do? How do they converse? How do they engage?
How
right?
do we get there? Or how do we?
Yeah. And we found that
it's just a costume
people
for
are
a human being.
Exactly.
People at the end of the day,
Absolutely.
like I get yelled at because I wear a sweatshirt and jeans everywhere and a ball cap. People are like, "You're meeting like people. These guys could be important. You should have a nice shirt on and whatever." And I'm like, "This is me."
Yeah.
But when you get dressed up, you get a fresh haircut and everything. Why do you think people get haircuts before they go to a job interview?
Exactly.
Or before they go on an important date?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because it builds their self-confidence. Whether how much jacked up their haircut might be
Yep.
or whatever, but they feel good about themselves, right?
Exactly.
So you guys are in the business of making people feel good, just like cutting their hair.
Feel good. I like that. Feel good and look good. Yes, sir.
Feel good.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No. So it's cool. So you guys instantly friendship and obviously like the yin and the yang kind of, so to say. You had clients come with you, and then starting any kind of business in a new town, that word of mouth and everything's got to spread. Was that hard for you guys to get packed up?
So yes and no. No, I would say yes in the sense that we're new. Nobody in Grays Lake knew who we were, and there's still a lot of people that don't know who we are, and that's exciting, right? That gives us a unique opportunity to network and let people know who and where we are. Yes in the fact, or no in the fact that the pandemic, when you tell people they can't do something, as simple as getting a haircut, it's amazing how our rebellious nature, which is probably why we are where we are, right? And we are the great country that we are because we have that resiliency and we're independent in our thinking in a lot of ways. But yeah, as soon as it was like, no, you can't get a haircut, everybody's like, oh, watch me.
Yeah.
Right? Hold my beer. I'll be right back.
Right.
And I can't say, I won't say that part. But there were people that
Don't
were.
make me edit a whole lot.
Yeah, there were people that weren't supposed to be getting haircuts by mandate that were definitely getting haircuts.
Of course.
But so in that sense, the pandemic was really a blessing to our business, and it brought a lot of traction, a lot of new faces into our doors, and the audacity of a barbershop opening during a pandemic. It was like, you guys are crazy. But I like crazy, and I kind of want to be here for it.
There's a reason we all get along.
Sure, exactly. Exactly.
Right. But it's fun like that. So you guys get to sit and you get to, I always think like from a barbershop to a beauty salon, like this is like the epicenter of random, almost awkward starts of communication as well, right? I sit in your chair, I don't know you from anybody, and it's just me and you sitting there.
Yep.
So those conversations must be awesome.
Oh yeah,
insanity. Would you like to take one of those?
Well, I just say like it's 3 topics. My go-to are usually family, sports, and business. Like, what do you do? And that usually works well with getting the conversation started. Right. And it flows nice. Everybody. Like me personally, I don't do a lot of sports, so that one it's hard for me to kind of relate to people. But I do like UFC, shit like that, and some fighting sports. But usually family. I'm a very family-oriented person, so I could relate to a lot of people like that. So I try to bond with my clientele through that. And what you do for work, right? Like, I want to learn what you're doing, not you see me in my, bare profession here, so you know exactly what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah.
And people genuinely like to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
Whether they want to admit that or not.
Some people are very secretive. Like, I've got some people that are like they don't want to fucking share a goddamn thing what they fucking do, and I'm just like, holy fuck, bro, take it, just relax, man, like,
sit back.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we've had very, very interesting people. I mean, we've had CIA agents come into the barbershop. They
weren't very secretive, though.
Apparently, ironically, not. Yeah. So
what do you do? I work for the CIA. Yeah. I'm undercover.
Right.
What?
Right. Let's make everybody in the room freeze for a second and hide everything.
An alpha thing for them though. Like, they want people to know who the fuck.
Oh, especially we're around guys. The testosterone's going like
for sure. Oh yeah. We all submitted instantly after he said, okay.
Well, I cut hair.
Right. Well, actually, I did ask him that. I was like, do you guys have CIA agents that are barbers? And he was like, ironically, we do. We have them everywhere. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. And I had an FBI agent sit in my chair, told me the same thing. So I'm currently trying to get a job. Let me know if you guys are hiring.
Any FBI guys,
pretty
just
good.
reach out.
I'll get you to spill everything, man. I'm pretty good. So we had the liaison of like the president or something come in once from Washington. Just crazy, right? And then we've also had cool people like Canhead. If anybody's familiar with Canhead, he has the ability to stick random aluminum/metal objects to his skin, and they just kind of stay there. I don't know what he's got.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's dope.
But he was going to go on tour with Mike Tyson, needed a haircut, was in town, and stopped in our barbershop. Was like, yeah, this is who I am. We didn't believe him. Then he pulls out his YouTube videos and gives us a business card, and we're like, oh, wow.
That's awesome, and the strangest thing I've ever fucking heard.
The strangest.
Just to show whatever your dream is, you can follow it. And to be Canhead or whatever, you can do it, kids.
If you want to come home with a unique, exciting story every night, become a barber or a hairstylist, and you will have the most interesting conversations with your spouse, loved ones. It's insane the amount of information that we're privy to.
Do you have client barber?
We do. We have we sign HIPAA agreements with all of our clients.
So
we can't disclose, unfortunately.
Good. So speaking of that, I want to hear a couple of your favorite stories you've heard from people, since it's all secretive.
Oh God!
I read somewhere something about a pit bull or something.
So we actually saved a girl from a pit bull attack. So there's a veterinary hospital inside of the plaza.
Oh, that's right. I know where you guys are.
And shout out to Diego, one of our barbers.
Yeah.
We're cutting hair. We're in the mix, and I see his head just dart to the parking lot, and I followed his sight, and I'm like, what is he looking at? And I thought it was a physical altercation. Like, I thought two people were getting into a physical altercation. And he drops his clippers and books it out. And Diego can't fight. So I'm like, I need to book it with him in case this thing gets out of control, right? So we're both running, and it isn't until I'm like within a few feet of what I'm looking at that I realize that it's a pit bull on top of a young lady. And he's like gnarling, like arm in his mouth, head shaking. Wow. And I see that the other person that I thought was assaulting this person is actually the veterinary person trying to pull the leash of the dog to get him off of this girl.
Yeah.
So if you've ever been in a situation like that, you're not really thinking, you're just reacting.
No, you just react. Yeah. Some people run away from that, by the way.
Sure. Yeah. And they'd be smart.
I get in all kinds of trouble because I'm running into the fire. Right. Yeah.
So there we are, and I immediately grab at his neckline, and Diego's grabbing at the girl's arm, and we're like this weird tug of war, and finally somebody sticks a thumb up the dog. No, I'm just kidding.
I was never near the
yeah, that was Diego's thumb.
He can't fight. Yeah, lend a hand or a thumb.
Oh God. So the dog, for whatever reason, lets go of this young lady's arm. We'll leave those details out. But he lets go of the young lady's arm, and now we're addressing the girl, and she's bleeding and crying profusely and freaking out. So we get the dog away, we get the girl calm. Her mom finally comes. She informs us that it's the mom's rescue dog, and it's attacked her like 3 times already, right?
Yeah.
So we comfort her, we console her, we do our job. The ambulance gets there, we walk away. Job's done. About 2 weeks later, the girl walks in with her mom, and she's got bandages on her arm from the attack, and she brings us cookies, or I think cupcakes, of some balloons and a letter saying, "Thank you guys, you saved my life." Da 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 da. So that was a really, really cool, unique experience, and I wear my superhero cape to this day proudly.
Yeah,
right.
I would say so.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's crazy. So how about I know that you guys are basically like therapists as well.
Yeah.
I read something in one of the bio things that we were sharing back and forth about somebody who was thinking about committing suicide.
Yes. So that's a fun story. So he was my client.
That's not a good way to start. That's just a fun story.
Yeah. It's fun because of the end, right?
Okay.
The ending is amazing. So this young kid comes in. He must be like in high school. He's 16, 17 years old. And he shows up about 30 minutes late to his appointment, right? So for me, my schedule was very tight. So I informed him. I was like, "Dude, you missed your slot, kid." And then he's like, "Yeah, sorry, I have court, or I had court, and that's why I was late." And like many of us, I'm flawed, right? I'm a God-fearing man, but I'm very flawed. And in that moment, I had a moment of selfishness where I'm like, well, now I got to stay 30 minutes late for this kid who can't get to his haircut appointment on time, right? So rolling eyes in the back of my head, kind of frustrated, and begrudgingly, admittedly, I tell the kid, "You know what? Stick around, and I'll finish my schedule. I'm about an hour away from finishing my schedule. If you can hang out for an hour, I'll stay 30 minutes late and cut your hair," right? So I continue my haircuts. I get through my 2 haircuts. I then call the kid up. I'm like, "Hey, bud, I'm ready." And he sits in my chair, and we get to having a conversation. But me and Diego were the only 2 in the barber shop at the time. And me and him have a lot of deep conversation, right? From, God and being a man and doing good and fighting, So we're having this really profound conversation, and this kid's just sitting in my chair, kind of head down in a way, and I would catch him nodding in agreement to some of the topics we were touching. And a lot of it was about that, just being a good person and persevering and loving yourself. And so we finished a haircut, and he tells me, he was like, "It's crazy because 2-3 days ago I was contemplating suicide." And I said, "Why would you?" I mean, that's deep, dude. You're 16, 17 years old, right? Like that's a deep thing. And he says, "Yeah, well, I have court because I stabbed my dad," right?
Oh,
and I'm
smokes.
like, "You stabbed your what? What's going on, dude? Like, you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, well, my dad's a drunk, and he had a habit of coming home intoxicated and beating me and my mom."
Heartbreaking.
Right. And he said, and one day he was beating on me, and I had enough, and I stabbed him with a kitchen knife. And he's like, and that's why I have court. And I'm like, wow, that's deep. He was like, yeah. He's like, but thanks to this conversation, man, he's like, I really do feel like God sent me here for this conversation because I feel better. And I'm optimistic about my future. Even though I'm in a dark place right now, I'm really optimistic about my future. And me and Diego just kind of sat with that. Like the kid left, and me and him just kind of sat in the barbershop in our barber chairs like, whoa, dude. Like here I was ready to send this kid off, right? Because he shows up 30 minutes late. I don't want to deal with it. Selfishly, I want to go home. I want to sit on my couch. I want to watch TV, eat my Fruit Loops, right?
Yeah.
And just relax. I don't want to give this kid an extra 30 minutes. But that 30 minutes might have saved a life, right? So to all barbers, all stylists, all professionals out there, man, just that 30 minutes can mean so much, and it could literally be a life-altering experience for somebody.
And it's a good life lesson because I always say, we don't know what other people are going through.
Absolutely.
And you know what? And all those little random acts of you, sometimes we're put in places and we don't know why.
Sure.
And we have to deal with adversity. Like you want to go home and just get out of there.
Exactly.
But those little things to just wait, because you can make a difference in somebody's life in just the littlest things you do.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't even you talking directly to him.
Just talking, right?
Good.
And I always say, God is the word, I am a vessel, right? So he puts the words, for whatever reason, he put that topic on me and Diego's mind.
I don't think that's an accident.
We shot from the hip, and it's crazy. And I'm an inner city youth, so it almost, I had a moment with myself in my car where I'm like, dude, how far removed are you from that, right? Like you come from that. You know what that is. You've seen that. And you almost ignored it, right? And ignored the importance of being there for those kids because out of anybody, they need it the most. You know what I mean? Because you needed it at one point.
Absolutely. And that's where we act as vessels of service to people rather than, and it's funny that you say that because, like, you're just giving the kid a haircut.
Exactly.
But could save his life.
And that's where it goes to, we provide a service, but we also provide an experience. And that experience that was priceless for that kid.
Mm-hmm. It's like almost like the safety of going to a place and knowing that you guys, and there's no topics off the table when they come to see you guys. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everything. And it's cool. And if you can make that and that's their haircut, okay. Right. They're going to come back and back and back, and then you enrich their lives, but they also enrich your lives at the same time.
Absolutely.
Which is cool.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
It is.
It's a very good topic.
I also read something here about like a homeless guy.
Oh, yeah. So we have a homeless guy that walks around the shop. This is more of a funny
Does he hang out by the Walgreens down there?
He sure does.
Yeah, I've helped him out. Yeah. Actually, I bought him some food rather than giving him cash.
So we've had a few interactions with this guy, right? So that was one of them where Diego offered to buy him food and he kind of shunned him. He was like, I don't want no food. Give me some money. But he's honest,
you do
right?
a very good act like that.
You're right. You got to respect it, right? You got to respect the honesty.
Sure.
But we were touching in the barbershop on this whole inflation thing, right? This tick, gas prices, everything's up. You can't even find a dollar menu at McDonald's, right?
No.
So things are changing, and even in that sphere, right, in the sphere of giving, it's changing. And I think they sense the inflation too, because I was walking from the barbershop to my car, and the guy walks up to me and he's like, "Hey man, you got $50?" And I'm like, "Whoa!"
He shot high.
He shot really high.
Wow.
And I'm just like, "Wow, inflation's hitting everybody." You know what I mean? Like nothing is. You can't just give $1 anymore. It's 50 and up now. So it was just a very like, whoa, no, but I can buy you food, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, it's he's an interesting fellow.
So did you help him out?
I offered to get him food, and he denied me that. So no, I was not able to help him that day.
God bless him, man, for sure.
But you learned a lot about sales that day.
We learned that inflation's a real thing, and it's hitting everybody hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's another topic.
So you guys get to see, like, with that just being said, all the people that come in and everything you do. Do you have any more stories of crazy ones that people have been in there?
We had a guy. It was our first one with a certain individual that tried to fight me.
Oh yeah, Cano has a stalker. Yeah,
I had a stalker. Yeah. So there was this guy. He was a client for a while. I'm not gonna say any names, but
no, don't say any names.
If he runs into this, I mean, he's gonna know who it is, right? But whatever, let's shoot it, So the guy, it's around Christmas, holidays, and we do have a try to stick to a strict policy. Like if you're more than 10 to 15 minutes late, I can't service you anymore because I have a long line of people that are coming.
It's in respect to the people that are on time.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And so the guy's messaging me like, hey, I'm running late. I'm like, hey, how late are you? What's your ETA? He tells me no more than 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, 10-minute mark passes. I'm like, dude, like, I need you here right now, man. What's going on? He doesn't reply. I'm like, dude, I won't be in. As I send him a message, hey, I'm sorry, man. We're going to have to reschedule you for the following week, which was New Year's week. And even then, the schedule was already pretty booked up. So he shows up regardless, and I just, I'm just waiting. I'm like, man, is this guy gonna read the message? Is he gonna, is he gonna be like? And this guy was a nice, pretty nice guy most of the time, so he never really gave me any issues, But he pulls up, and I just see a car just skirt in the front of the barbershop, and I'm like, whoa, like that looks like his car. And he comes in, and dude, he's just fucking going off, like talking hella shit to me. He's like.
And you have other clients there?
Oh, yeah, dude. There was people
this is business hours.
Yeah, business hours. This is like on a Thursday busy day. Middle of the day, he's talking shit. He's like, oh, fuck you, Cano, this and that. Like, I'm going to fuck you up. You think you're hot shit because you got a fucking business. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck, bro? Like, what the fuck is going on, So I'm like, I'm trying to like, like a part of me is like, dude, do I keep it professional or do I go out there and fuck this guy
up?
Say,
excuse me, I need to step outside.
Yeah. And man, I'm looking at these guys and I'm like, oh, dude, like, what do I do? Because if it wasn't my shop and had I been somewhere else, it would have been handled completely different,
Of course.
And
We do not condone violence at Will's Barber Lounge.
No,
we don't.
Absolutely.
And that's why.
But we
why
will
I'm
protect
going,
the innocent.
Yes.
Yeah, we will always. Yes. And so I decided to just let the guy talk, and I'm just like, I'm behind my chair. And at this point, I start giggling. He's still going off, and I'm just like, all right, dude, have a great fucking day, you know?
Right.
And he's like, fuck you, man, Merry fucking Christmas, motherfucker. You know, he just starts going off. And he leaves. I'm like, fuck.
I was insulted for Cano.
Jesus
Christ.
Yeah, now I got to deal with all the guys talking shit to me. He's like, oh, you're a bitch, bro. Come
on, you can't get punked like that in the barbershop.
Bro. He's like, dude,
you're not gonna get away with
establishment? Wow. And I'm like, oh, fuck
Couldn't
you
be me.
guys.
Yeah, right. And good business practice isn't to beat the hell out of somebody.
Not,
It definitely is not.
Right.
I am
Exactly.
extremely proud of Cano for that.
Yeah.
Right.
So this guy, you know, I message him, and I'm being professional because I remember, reviews. You know, I don't want this guy to fuck things up for us. You know, I don't want him to, you know. So I'm polite, and I'm like, hey, you know, it was a pleasure servicing you throughout these years. You're just no longer welcome here, man. I've always been good to you.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't deserve that, and my business didn't deserve that, and my staff and the clients there didn't deserve that. You know, you're no longer welcome at the Wolves. And then, you know, he starts going out this top story, and I'm just like, dude, I get it. Like, we're all going through shit, man. But I can't have that here, you know?
You gotta
We canceled him.
Yeah, so then he starts
You
going
guys are
off
gonna be
again.
canceled after
Yeah, right. So then he starts going off again, and I'm just like, dude, I just block him. I'm like, nah, bro, you're fucking done. You know, I block him off of our system where he can no longer book appointments. So, man, tell me why a year later, this guy
I thought that
shows
story
up.
was over.
No, this guy shows up again, but he's masked up, you know? He puts a fucking mask on, and I could recognize his voice. I know who the fuck it was, man.
Right.
But we just get this random dude, quote-unquote random dude. He just comes in, he's like, he's recording us, and he's like, hey, fuck you, Cano, you motherfucker, blah, 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 like, have a good fucking life. He just starts going off, man. He's saying all this shit, and we're just like, and we're, again, business hours, just popping in there, and we're just like, yo, what?
It lasted all of about 8 seconds.
Yeah, and then he just takes off. And then we have one of my clients in the military. He's just like, yo, dude, I could go grab his ass, dude. You want me to fucking handle it? I'm like, nah, bro. We're going to just
Shout out
let
to the
him
clients.
go. Yeah, bro. He's like, you sure? I seen his tag. I see it. I'm like, nah, I know who it is, bro. Don't worry about it. He, you know, let him live his life, man. You know, God bless that dude.
That's crazy. So is he gone out of your life now?
Thankfully.
Good.
Yeah, dude, 2 years later, he hasn't came back, man.
Have you seen the video?
No, I was actually disappointed in that. I was trying to find it like on Snapchat or, you know, I'm like, we went viral. We had to have gone viral.
Yeah, I think he could have done you guys a favor. As long as you get your logo in the
Free
background.
marketing, thanks, buddy.
And how you handle the situation. Yeah.
It's good publicity. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you know what? And when people write reviews like that, if they go out and write reviews, people know when they look at it and go, all right, because there's three sides to every story, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Luckily, he had the decency not to write a bad review about it. He just cussed us out on video.
Yeah.
Which is fine. You guys ever get anybody that comes in there that they're like nobody wants to cut their hair? Like they're stinky or they're something or you don't want to be
so
near
to protect the innocent, we're not including names.
Once again, I've never gotten my hair cut there.
Yeah, right.
So it can't be you.
It can't be.
It couldn't be me. I shower once a week for sure.
So luckily or unluckily, I guess, for our barber, this gentleman decides to come in, and he sits in his chair. And this was still the time where COVID was a thing, so people were wearing masks, and this our barber was wearing a mask, and I'm cutting hair, and he comes up to me, literally tears in his eyes, and he's like, "Hey Mel, can I talk to you outside?" I'm like, "Talk to me outside? What's up?" And he was like, "I just got to talk to you outside, bro." And I'm like, "Okay, is there a family issue? Like, what's going on? Like, are you quitting? Like, what's going on?" So we walk outside, and he's like, "Dude, I'm sorry." And I'm like, "Oh, he's quitting. Like, what's going on?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, man, this guy in my chair, man, he smells so bad." He was like, "It's so bad that I have a mask on." He's like, "I put 2 masks on, and I'm gagging because the body odor's so strong." And I'm like, "Okay, this is unique. I've never had to deal with this." And now he's looking at me, right? And I'm like, damn it, I had to be an owner, right? Like, of course, this is the life I chose. So I'm like, I guess I got to handle this. And how do I handle this, right? I don't want to offend the client. But I'm also not going to insist that my barber potentially throws up and gets sick behind the chair because this guy's so bad. So I'm like, okay, how do I gently break it to this guy that he needs to do better with his personal hygiene, right? That's a sensitive topic. So
sure.
I get the guy outside to just not, I'm like, hey, bud, can I talk to you outside real quick, So I take him outside, and I gently broke the facts to him. I was like, hey, I know I couldn't get that close to him. But
I need to keep 6 feet.
I kept 6 feet of distance because I'm responsible.
Right now, you're following the rules.
And I did. I had to let him know. I was like, hey, bud, if you could please just maybe go home, shower up, and come back. I mean, what do you say to somebody? I don't know. I needed you there at that time. You could have probably put the words in my mouth, but I gently broke it to him, and he received it well. And he did. He went home and tidied up and came back and got his haircut, so it was all good.
Really?
Ironically.
And you would think somebody coming in to get like a fresh haircut that they would have personal hygiene, that they'd be.
Yeah. I mean, you would think, right? They care about their image. They care about their right.
One would think.
Right. Guys, don't go to the gym and come get a haircut.
Yeah, or at least wear deodorant and stuff.
Right.
And it shouldn't be that stinky.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah. Well, some people. How about self-awareness?
Please.
Be aware of your surroundings.
Please.
Be kind to people that service you.
We sell stuff for that. So if you guys are
interested,
if you're having a problem with your personal hygiene,
we come see us.
Should we plug Dr. Schwartz right now? All right.
That's awesome. Maybe there's the male, the pheromone stuff that they sell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Something.
It's like canned Larry Bird sweat or
We're
something.
We're going to start carrying cologne or just spray people down real quick.
All right, so before any more stories, I want to know this, because I think this is a good thing that people don't know, because I think I'm good at this, but maybe people. So someone comes in to get a haircut. Is that what we call it? A haircut?
Haircuts.
Okay, haircuts. So what is a minimum gratuity, or what is a good? Because when I DJ'd for a long time, I'd have a father or a bride say, hey Dave, well, what's a good tip?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, if they're paying, I wish that I got tipped like you do in the service industry.
Sure.
So if it was 20% and I was charging $1,500. Sure, a $300 tip would be great all day, right? Yeah. So people always ask, well, what's a good tip? And it's a hard question to answer.
Yeah.
But what should people expect, or what do you guys find that's
70%?
70%.
Shoe high.
Starting.
Right.
No, I mean, I'd look.
Or what's a bad tip? Maybe that's a better way. What's a bad tip besides no tip? I know it's a hard question for you.
It is a hard question.
To answer the question.
It is a hard question. It's a great
spot.
question. I would say this. I think that our industry is unique in the sense that most of us, at least at our establishment, are independent contractors, right? Mm-hmm. So we set our prices according to what
the market
we want for that hour, or for that 35-minute slot, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So my honest opinion on that is gratuity is never expected, so there is no limitation, but it is appreciated. Right. So to that, I will say that
that's not getting canceled answer.
That is such. I'm trying so hard right now, Dave. Can you tell?
I just want
Cano, I'm waiting for Cano to just kind of come in here and be the Robin of my Batman on this one.
If I get a
I think 20% is agreeable. Right?
$40 haircut, that would be an $8 tip.
Sure.
Yeah. But who tips $8? You just do 10.
You would be,
right. Right.
I mean, my little guy, my 7-year-old gets a haircut, and I tip $10 on top of it, right? Because you appreciate it, and you know that people are working hard, and they all know that. I mean, you guys might be millionaires, and I don't know about it, but everybody's struggling to do their thing.
Absolutely.
And in a service industry like that, I always say that. Why do I have to tip a shitty waitress 20%? I think it should be based on experience and how you're treated. Yeah. And some people don't deserve a tip.
So that's a good question.
Why am I obligated? Why does it work for that industry, but not our industry?
Right. I mean, well, I tip the baristas at Starbucks.
Yeah, now they got the
thing. And this is an interesting thing. They get health insurance, right? They get PTO. These are a lot. So this is what people need to understand. And I'm glad you touched on that, because it gives me an opportunity to explain why our prices are what they are, right? Because I've heard of people say, well, I remember when haircuts were $10, and I'm like, I remember it too. But the gallon of gas was
$1.
A gallon of milk was.
And their salary,
a carton of eggs was
10 years ago either.
And this is the difference. What I just stated is that all of us at Wolf's Barber Lounge are independent contractors. Now, those that aren't familiar with that process and how that works is, these guys are responsible for everything. Their own health insurance, they pay their taxes, they have to plan for their retirement, all from whatever they make behind the chair, right? So it's a very interesting, unique concept that these guys have. If they get sick or they can't come to work, there is no PTO.
They don't have it paid days off.
Right. You don't come to work, you don't get paid.
Right.
Right.
Some people don't. They don't get the concept of that.
Exactly. So a responsible barber realistically lives off half of what he charges, because the other half is going to taxes.
Right.
So really, when you're looking at a $40 haircut, that guy's living off of $20 every haircut. So that is why the scale is what it is, and it needs to be what it is in order for us to attract young men and women to even want to do this, right? Like, who wants to work for pennies?
Right. Yeah.
And it's a very high demand, high focus profession where you need to be very good at multitasking, answering phones, holding a conversation with your client, and then also being focused on delivering the best possible product that you can deliver at the end, right?
Absolutely.
So it's a lot of moving parts there, and I'm glad that people appreciate and respect what we do. And it wasn't always the case. Like, Cano had his friends clowning him basically for pursuing barbering as a career, because it wasn't a legitimate career and this was maybe 10 years ago, right? We're not talking that long ago.
2009.
I graduated college and people laughed their ass off that I was going to go DJ stuff.
Sure.
And my own father said, "So you're going to play music and you're going to pay the mortgage on this house?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. I didn't know that was going to work, but you pursued what you loved.
Exactly.
My mother gave me the same spiel. When I was 25 is when I decided to become a barber. My son was already very much here. And I go to tell my mom, hey, I'm going to quit Burger King, because she comes from the old school mentality of, work hard, get a job with a pension, 401k, whatever. And that's where you stay, right? And I was like, hey, I want to pursue this barbering thing. And she's like, are you insane? What is wrong with you? You're 25 years old.
The answer to that is yes.
Right, in a good way, right?
In a good way.
I'm crazy enough to
follow
try.
your dreams.
Exactly.
Yeah, and money will follow.
And it very much has. And I remember I was able to move my mother in with me after, pursuing this career and becoming successful in it. And we were sitting down Christmas Day at the dinner table, and I looked at her and I was like, you remember a few years back when I told you I wanted to pursue this thing, and you looked at me like I was absolutely insane? And she just kind of put her head down and smiled, and she's like, I'm proud of you. And we didn't touch it. We didn't touch the topic. That was her, that's it. Stop talking. Okay. Understood.
Awesome. And then you said, Mom, you need a haircut?
Right. I won't touch my mom's hair. I get nervous.
That's funny.
Yeah. But touching real quick on another cool thing that has come from the barbershop is we were able to found the Lake County Jeep Club, and huge shout out to those guys.
Yeah, they do a great job. You guys are a part of that.
We are a part of that. The very first meeting was or
get together
was
first
held
meeting
in our parking lot, and it's grown to over 2,000 members in a little less than 2 years. They do so many things with St. Jude's and cancer research projects, and they do a lot of Make-A-Wish Foundation things. So they're huge veterans, absolutely, huge in the veteran sphere. Yeah. So very proud and fortunate to not only be a part of that, but see it come to fruition, right? And that conversation being had in the barbershop. Eric Bowl, huge shout out to Eric Bowl, former president and founder of the Lake County G Club, and so we look forward to whatever they continue to do in the community and being part of it in whatever ways we can. So,
and that's I'm glad you touched on that, because one of my things is, how do you give back?
Yeah,
and it is important, I think, in a community too, whether even if it's unseen or what you're involved in, but it's fun to bring light and to know that other people can be involved in it. Absolutely. And to help people.
Absolutely,
which is a huge thing. Yeah.
So I think it was our second year in business. Yeah. Gages Lake had their centennial, and they reached out to us. And as you guys know, or if you don't know, businesses take a while to generate money, and a lot of it's pulling from your own pocket and throwing it back in and recycling and trying to. So we were very much in that process of our business venture, and the Centennial reaches out to us, and they're like, hey, we would love for you guys to consider being sponsors for our Centennial. And I'm like, that's a huge deal, right? And they're
absolutely,
they're our neighbors, right? They're right in our backyard.
They're still 60030.
Exactly. So, and then I'm looking at the denominations that they're asking for, and I'm like, dude, I don't know, I can't afford this. Can we just put a couple flyers up? And,
we'll cut some people's hair.
Right. Contribute in other ways, but. Something in me was like, you know what, man, let's just do it. Even if it comes out of our pocket, let's just do it. So we did. We signed up and we became the official sponsor for the Gages Lake Centennial. This was 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Wow.
2 summers ago.
And what an experience that was, just to be able to, we hung out at Jesse Oaks and we planned everything. We got to meet some people and just getting to see that community and the sense of pride that they have in it, right? And I think that that's very important for any community. Grays Lake, Gages Lake, that's what keeps kind of people, doing good for the good.
Hey, I just announced your guys' name at the ice skating thing in Grays Lake.
We did do that.
Yeah, so I was
awesome.
Looking at your guys' things over there, and I was like, cool. These guys are
hope you
awesome.
enjoyed the hot chocolate.
Yes. And I think I possibly was hungover from the night before that when I met you guys there. So I was, and I said some stuff after your names and cussing you out because we probably drank together.
That's awesome.
Hey, any press is good press, right?
Oh,
Whatever
God.
we can do.
Here I am trying to be PC.
Yeah, I know. No, not at all. Okay, so I'm looking at the time, and I know that you guys have a hard stop that we have to do.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing today? Why are you blowing me off?
Oh,
whoa.
We are teaching a class at Dave's Barber College in Lake Villa.
Yeah, Davis Barber Academy in Lake Villa.
Yeah, their academy. It's barbers. They have 20 students right now in there, which they're doing amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we're just there to share knowledge and plant the seed, right, of what we do and who we are, and give back to the young guys that are interested in the career. Because in 2009, nobody wanted to be a fucking barber, man. And now you have a lot of people that are very interested, and it's growing.
They're seeing the potential in the industry, and they're seeing the growth in the industry, and it's attractive, and it's good, and it's necessary for businesses like ours for continued growth, right? To continue to plant, and not only plant, but water these seeds, right? And these kids, and get them to continue their journey as barbers, because it's not easy. It's really not easy.
And it'll be cool to see the glimmer in their eye to know that, and follow these guys as they go to see but just to inspire some guys to tell them your story and how things are going, that it can encourage them to do what they want to do. Because if they're going to school for it, man, what a great thing.
And that's another thing in the industry that I'm really excited about, that these kids are pursuing barbering in the right way. In the 90s and the early 2000s, even the mid 2000s, so far it's been a lot of, I cut hair out of my garage and I'm good at cutting hair and I need a job. And now it's becoming more of a, they weren't getting their licenses is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So it makes it extremely hard to build any kind of sound foundation behind something that's already beginning in shady waters, right? So that the fact that these kids are taking the correct path and saying, hey, I'm going to do things right first. I'm going to go to school first, get licensed, have that integrity behind my career and that respect for the career, and then pursue the barbershop aspect of it, the making money aspect of it, right? So they're investing in themselves first. It costs money to go to these schools. It's like $25,000 tuitions, right?
Wow.
So it's not cheap.
Holy cow.
And it's about a year's worth of time
a lot.
investment.
Wow.
So these young kids that are taking the steps to do it right make our lives as owners so much easier, because it reduces liability. It allows us to guide, mold these guys, and allows them to build a better, stronger career in the future. So kids, if you're looking at barbering, if you're considering it as a career option, please start it off on the right foot. Be serious and go to school, get licensed, so that we, as Wolves Barber Lounge, can offer you opportunities to further that career with us, right? Speaking of that, we are working on a second location. We talked about that, Dave.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Super exciting. It's going to be a different concept. I'm going to share it. I can't share it.
We're not sharing.
Nope.
I can't share it. I talked to Dave. We'll talk. But it will be one of the first of its kind, I think, in the nation. So to all the barbers out there or stylists that want to convert over to barbering, hopefully we can bring you guys a really unique and exciting experience circa 2024 that is going to open a lot of doors for a lot of people.
That's awesome.
Super stoked.
And I'm very excited. Anybody that knows what you're doing, you can be comfortable where you're at, or you can try something completely different that nobody's doing. And that takes balls.
Yes.
Yes.
Just like opening up in a pandemic.
Right.
Balls.
Balls.
Right.
Today's program was brought to you by having balls.
Balls.
So if you take one thing away from this episode is be kind to people and have balls.
Yeah.
And use Dr. Squatch soap. Make sure you take care of your personal hygiene.
Please.
Thanks, guys.
And that's a wrap. We're out.
That's all right.
We're out of here. So you guys really do have to go. So
yeah.
okay. So hey, anybody out there that needs a haircut? And the cool thing is we do have other barbershops in Grays Lake. There's enough business to go around.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch people play nice and respect each other. We talked about the other barbers before we even got on it. And I'm good friends with Myra.
I was just going to say, shout out to Myra and Good American Barber.
Yeah, and they're doing a great job. And they're bringing positivity to the community, and which is awesome. So we appreciate you guys being a part of this awesome community that we have.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so make sure to go visit our friends at Wolves Barber Lounge. Yes, and we'll get a big howl after we go. So we appreciate you guys being on the show. And Grays Lake, wherever you're listening, whether you're listening on Spotify, whether you're on Apple Podcasts, whether you're on YouTube, wherever the heck you're listening, make sure to hit the subscribe button, because then every week when a new episode comes out, now twice a week when a new episode comes out, you'll be alerted on your phone. You don't need to bother with our social media, and I encourage everybody to listen to people that you don't know. So if you logged into this one and listen to these gentlemen, we appreciate you very much. And we already covered this on here, but we'll leave you with this. So I challenge everybody in Grays Lake, everybody listening, do one simple, random act of kindness to somebody today. Mm-hmm. Treat somebody good. We don't know the shit they're going through. Yep. So be kind to people, and kindness spreads like wildfire. So if we all do that, our community will grow stronger. We all grow together, and be nice to people, and tip well.
Yes. 20% minimum?
Yeah, not 20% minimum. Whatever we discuss.
I like 70%, but I'm biased.
We'll go with that. Grays Lake, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next Tuesday.
Have a good one.
Bow.